Now I'm going to call up our next speaker. So his name is Amish Shah. If you've heard of Amish, or if you're friends with him, or if you've seen him talk before, raise your hand. Make some noise. So here's what I really love about Amish. Now Amish is not just a friend, but he's a guy who has really inspired me to think differently about my life. In fact, as I mentioned at the start of AwesomenessFest, every year at Mind Valley we do a team retreat. And I take my entire team plus spouses, some 70 people, to a paradise island, and I invite specific key individuals in the business and personal growth movement to come, spend time with Mind Valley, engage in the brain exchange, and speak to my team. And my team is really picky because, think about it, we are personal growth publishers. We have 500 authors applying to get published by us every 5 weeks, and we only get to choose one. So we've seen it all. I mean, we speak to tons of people. And, you know, we know what's good, we know what is not so good, what's just fluff. Amish became the first person in 4 years of us doing this team retreat to get a standing ovation by my team. And that's a big deal. And the reason I believe they gave him a standing ovation is because of what Amish represents. See, Amish, as a young kid, went through some crazy history in his life. He's going to be sharing that with you, so I won't give away the secret. But he went on to do a couple of really cool things. He, in the field of internet marketing, launched one of the hottest products in that entire industry. It was called the Magic Bullet System. That launch was phenomenally successful. He then went on to start an iPad app company. And prior to that, he'd started another digital advertising company that made the Inc. 500. Now, all the while doing this, Amish was very much immersed in personal growth. In fact, his next 2 products involved teaching people how to build a business, teaching people how to present, and teaching people meditation. Amish is at the crossroads of business plus spirituality, and his whole life philosophy and how he developed his particular lifestyle, how he developed his success in business and in life, stems from his ability to take complex ideas, link them together, combine spiritual practices, life practices, business, mind map and flowchart the entire diagram, and then incorporate it in his life. Anyway, that's what he's going to be sharing with you. It's a really inspiring presentation. I know he inspired the heck out of my team in Langkawi Island just a few months back. And Amish was not even supposed to be at AwesomenessFest, but after I saw him present, I told him, Amish, I'm going to actually take away 1 hour from my presentation time at AwesomenessFest and give that to you. So I actually cut down my speech time so that I could share Amish's ideas with you guys. So I want you to give a big, fat round of applause to Amish Shah.
How's everyone doing today? I'm going to take off my flip-flops for this one. So, wow, awesome crowd. I have to say, a really, really awesome crowd. I can feel the energy in this room, and that's very rare. And for the first time, I feel kind of nervous, which is kind of weird. So, yeah, I've been breathing. All right. Actually, let's do that. Let's all together, everyone just take a really deep breath, inhale, and then exhale. All right. And during this presentation, I want you guys to be completely present, because that is the most important thing, as we heard from almost every speaker today, actually. Say that being present and being right here with me, listening to me, and seeing that everything that's going on, just be right here with me today. You could be anywhere. You could be outside, and that's fine. You could be anywhere you want. But if you want to stay present and be right here with me, things will start to change. So I call this presentation Meditate to Create. And it's kind of like a concept I coined up and just started thinking about it. And I was like, I need a name. And literally I've been using this to create my perfect life. Literally my perfect life. And I'm not saying it's 100% perfect yet, but you know what? It's getting there, slowly. But it's getting there. And I'm using certain practices to do that, and that's what this whole thing's about. So I'm going to show you something today. And I'm going to show you something extremely powerful. Something that can deeply and profoundly change the way that we all perceive reality. Right? Something you can use to create your perfect life. Whatever you want to do, whatever you can think of. Take your mind as far as you can go, and you can use this to create your perfect life. But before I do that, I want to first talk about the misinterpretation of what we call manifestation. Everyone's like, I'm going to manifest that. I have manifestation. I'm going to do this. I'm good at manifesting. Just a big misinterpretation. We all know that there's a ton of great products out there on manifestation and the law of attraction. There's tons, right? In fact, there's like thousands. There's thousands of products on this stuff. But we identified manifesting with some secret, right? Which pretty much ruined the way that we look at manifestation. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the secret, but we linked it with something that's like a secret. It's like something that we can't figure out. It's this manifestation. You create this vision in your head, and all of a sudden it becomes real. And you know what? That's what happens because our community goes out and grabs copies of all these different products and all these different things. And they try to incorporate all these ideas into their lives. But it just doesn't work for everyone. It really just doesn't work for everyone. You can't just make a car disappear and create a parking spot. You know, I've heard people say that, I'm going to manifest this car to disappear. I'm like, well, good luck. You can't just expect $1 million to show up. Say, I'm going to wake up, there's going to be $1 million in my bank account. Well, good luck. And you can't just wake up happy one day. Unless you fall and crack your head open or something, maybe. But it's not something that we can just achieve overnight. It's not that easy. It's not like I'm going to manifest this overnight, right? The word manifestation is defined as an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. The word manifest is defined as to display or show by one's acts or appearance, or to demonstrate. The origin of these two words is from the mid-17th century, from Italian, from manifestare, from Latin, to make public or to make obvious. Now, it's basically saying that you have to demonstrate something in your life, and something may show up and embody a theory or an abstract idea that you have, right? And I'm not really sure what that has to do with what we consider manifesting, right? We consider manifesting like I'm going to create something, I'm going to do something. So manifestation also means a symptom or sign of an ailment, a version or incarnation of something or someone, or appearance of a ghost or a spirit. Again, nothing wrong with the word manifestation. It's completely cool. I'm saying, what else does it also mean? So, and a ghost? I mean, seriously, a ghost? You're going to manifest like a manifestation, you know? It's kind of just interesting. So words are just words. So the truth is that you shouldn't try and manifest things into your life. That's the real truth. You shouldn't try and manifest anything in your life. Because manifesting something is waiting for something to enter your life on what you want, right? And waiting is just a state of mind, and it means you want the future. And if you don't want the present. And if you don't want what's right now, that means you don't want what you have right now. And if you don't have that, then you want what you don't have. So you're waiting for something, right? With every kind of waiting, you unconsciously create inner conflict within yourself between the here and now and the protected future is where you want to be. You're creating this like mind fuck. Sorry. But you're just creating, sorry, I'll be doing that throughout this presentation a little bit. So I just realized there's young people here. Yeah, but what you're doing is you're waiting for something to happen. That's what manifesting really is. Does that make any sense? So instead of manifesting what you want in life, you actually have to create what you want in life. You can't just manifest something. You have to actually create what you want in your life. So let's look at the definition of the word create. To bring something into existence. Doesn't that just make more sense? The origin of the word create is from the late Middle English, and it says to form out of nothing, or use of divine or supernatural being, produced. That's some powerful shit right there. Creating something like that, that's insane. So doesn't that seriously just make more sense? You're going to create something instead of manifesting something like ghosts and shit? Like, seriously? So the next time you want to manifest something, just take a step back for a second and be like, all right, well, you know what? I realize that I actually have to create this. I can't just manifest it. I actually have to make it happen. I have to create something. So there's been a ton, an explosion of all this manifestation content, right? Since we discovered what we call the secret. Tons and tons of content. Everyone out there is like, just, you can manifest anything you want. Manifest your perfect life. Get a date, get a life, get whatever. Lose weight, anything. Manifest all this stuff. More and more books are popping up every single day. Books, products, concepts, everything. Every single day there's more and more concepts and more products. And you know what? That's exactly what's making us more confused. Because there's so much information. They call it information overload. Everyone knows what that is. You as marketers, and not just marketers, people in general, there's so much freaking information coming at you 24 hours a day that you're just like, shut up. You just got to go inside yourself. And I'm going to explain that in a second. Because most of the products just convey concepts, ideas, and theories, and there's no real system on how to actually create anything you want, right? There's no real system that you can follow where you can actually track what's going on. See, it's already tough enough trying to decide how to create what we want in our lives. What should we buy? What should we practice? What should we try? What should we do? There's so much stuff that we have to do in our life that we just don't know. So what good is a product if you can't implement any of it and actually track progress or measure change? What is the point of studying any of that information if you cannot measure change? There's really no difference at all. Right? There's so much information out there that we eventually just get stuck. Because there really is no secret. There really is no secret. So what do we do? What do we really do? Right? We all try and manifest this and do this and create that. So what do we do? There's so much shit out there. It's retarded. It's insane. So, well, I think I've figured out how to create anything you want in your life. Literally create your perfect life. And how to literally just have and create everything you want in your life. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be anything. Because the real secret is within each of us. It's within you. That's the real secret. Not all the books, not all the crap that's out there. The secret's within yourself. That's the secret. That's really the secret. You see, I've been on a journey. And along the way, I've had some major transformations in which I discovered a set of systems that allows me to create anything I want. Literally, anything I want. To the point where now I'm almost creating things in real time. It's bizarre. Don't ask me how or why this is happening. Maybe 2012, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, whatever. But it's working. And so I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that's going on right now. See, I've had this gift since I was younger. And I had the ability to create almost anything, but I wasn't aware of it. I could create good things. I could create bad things. I could create material like objects. Like I would just be like, I want this, and the next thing you know, like a couple months later, I'd have it. It was weird. I just didn't know how that was actually happening. I could create relationships. I'd concentrate on one person, and the next thing you know, I was going out with them. It was bizarre. And I didn't know what I was actually doing when I was younger. I would create money. I've always just somehow created money in my life. Don't ask me how. I've just always created money. People tell me I have the Midas touch or something like that. It's weird. And I used to just create the most random things. Even seriously, some things were bad, really bad things. I used to make bad shit happen to me because I was so freaking negative. Everything in my life was negative, and I would just make everything negative, and everything that surrounded me would be negative. My whole life was negative. Everything. See, I didn't have much growing up. I grew up in a poor household, 4 of us in a house, 1 income, $28,000 a year. And we had to pay the mortgage and all this stuff because my dad had gotten laid off, right? My father was always negative. Very similar stories as Drew talked about before, physically and verbally abused, emotionally abused by my father. But my mom was always the positive support system. It's I'm sitting there trying to figure out which way do I go? Which way do I who do I look at? But I'd always go towards my father's route and be the negative person. But my mom would always be reading me verses from the Bhagavad Gita, or reading me Tony Robbins, or watching Les Brown on TV. And she took a Dale Carnegie course, and she used to read the things that that she learned in class that day and just teach me all this stuff to be positive and everything's okay. Don't worry about it. Everything will be all right. And just having that trust, having the trust in the universe and having the trust that everything is going to be all right. So I always had to make my own money because of this situation. I just had to figure out ways to make money. I delivered newspapers. I cleaned dirty cages. I worked at the pharmacy. I sold candy in middle school and in high school. I sold Christmas cards, going door to door selling Christmas cards. And I would get $2 per sale for every single Christmas card package that I sold. And I'd have to give the money back to my parents, and then they would use it for whatever, bills and stuff like that. That's the kind of, I was working since I was like 12 years old. And I just had to work because I had to support the family and I had to support myself. In 1986, around the time I was 6 years old, I got the opportunity to skip 2 grades. Again, I just don't know what it was. They thought I was smart or something. So they wanted me to skip 2 grades. My parents actually ended up only skipping me 1 grade, because then if I skipped 2 grades, I would be like the youngest kid in the school and I wouldn't be able to drive till I was like in college. And it didn't make any sense, really. I taught myself how to make music when I was 8 years old. And I sold my first piece of software when I was 12 years old. And I used to be really into computers. I just always loved computers. I think I got my first computer when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I used to read the freaking manual. Who does that as a 9-year-old kid? And I just remember I used to read it, and I used to be trying to figure out ways to make it faster, and just random things like that. I just used to read so much stuff, and I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I couldn't sleep at night because I'd try and figure out how to make the computer faster. It was crazy. And then by the time I was 13, I was actually online in 1993. Kind of the beginning of the internet, I guess you can say. Not really the beginning, but when it first started to get a little bit of traction. Who remembers those America Online discs they used to get in the mail every other day? All that stuff. I used to be on America Online. I used to dial into my friends' computers, BBSs, all that stuff, right? I started making money online by the time I was 15 in 1995. And there's a funny story to this because I was 15 years old in 1995. If you remember the internet, there was a lot of adult content. And if you guys know what an affiliate program is, it's basically, dude, you're 15 years old. That's the best thing you could do is look at adult content, right? Hormones are going crazy. So I just remember scrolling to the bottom of the page and it said, webmasters make money. And I'm like, that's interesting. And so I grabbed my link, I signed up for the program, and I submitted my affiliate link to all the major search engines that were out back in the day. And before I knew it, I was making a couple $1,000 a month. And I was getting checks in the mail, and I used to run home from school every single day before my parents got home to make sure they wouldn't see that I was getting checks from jackinoff.org or something like that. Or crazy pimp, things like that. So I used to go and I used to get these checks, and I used to go to the grocery store and I used to cash them, and I used to put the cash in my pocket, and I thought I was the coolest shit around, walking around with the wad of cash, be like, yeah, I'm gonna get a pretzel today. In school, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a slushie. I'm gonna get 2 slushies. In fact, I'm gonna buy the whole table of slushies. So I started making pretty decent money. Like I said, I've always had this ability to create money, and I just don't know what it was. I was always in this negative space, but I've always had the ability that this was gonna be my way out. I just thought, my dad was always just we don't have enough money, we can't do this, we can't do that, and I was like, well, I have to create money. That's what I have to do to get out of this life. That's what I have to do to get out of this life, right? And then I started getting involved with hacking. Again, I was just young and I was stupid, and it's just a curiosity. When you're 15 and you're just super curious about everything in your life. Everything in your life. It was really easy back in the day. The username and passwords in 95 and 96 were admin. Or admin master or admin password. It's pretty easy. And then I got busted in 1996 when I was 16 years old. I remember this story exactly. I was sitting there, my parents had left. They had made me Indian food, and I wasn't really that hungry. Actually, I really didn't want Indian food at the time. I love Indian food now, though. And I tried to flush it down the toilet, because I didn't want to eat it, and I guess it clogged the toilet. So I'm sitting there with this, that snake thing, and then I hear the doorbell ring, and I'm like, who's here? I mean, maybe they came back, and I was like, shit, if they're back, like, they're gonna catch me with this food in the toilet. And I had money at the time. I was like, I'm just gonna ride my bike to Wawa and eat a sub, man, screw this. So I look through the little window, and I see a bunch of cop cars and unmarked cars in front of my house, probably about 12 of them. And I see this guy, I see about 5 agents in front of my house wearing bulletproof vests, and I'm looking through the window, and I'm like, no. I was like, no, this can't be real. This cannot be happening. Open the door, the guy goes, are you Amish Shah? He said, yes. He goes, step back, we have a search warrant for your house, and you're under arrest. And I stood back, and 15 agents came into my house, ripping everything upside down, turning everything upside down, taking pictures of everything. And my parents weren't home. How awesome is that? All the neighbors were all surrounding the house, like, what's going on? Because they blocked off the whole entire street with cop cars and unmarked cars. FBI was at my house. They had, like, earpieces on, suits and everything, a whole deal. It was like a movie. And I remember just sitting there, and I was just like, they're like, what did you do? And I'm like, nothing, man. You didn't do anything wrong. Do you know this, like, what you're doing? Were you hacking? I was like, not me. I don't do that kind of stuff. And so, get this, my parents had to park. Well, they came home while this was all going on. So they parked down the block, and they thought, like, I got, like, shot or something. Like, they didn't know what was going on. And then they came in the house, and they found out what happened, and it was kind of crazy. And the end of the story is basically, I went to court. I had 19 charges against me. If I was over 18, I would have got 7 years per count. And I was 16. And it was in the news. It was like on Wall Street. It was the Wall Street Journal, CNN. It was like on I was the front page of every newspaper. But they couldn't use my name because I was a minor. They just said 2 South Brunswick hackers got caught, whatever, X amount of money. And we had this big circle online that we like would exchange information and products. And it was like a big bust. And so I remember sitting there at court that day. And I was just sitting there at court, and I was standing there, and I could see my shirt like bouncing. And I was just sitting there, I was like, oh my God, we had to hire a lawyer. We didn't even have money for this stuff, right? We had to hire a lawyer. And the lawyer's just like, I don't know what's going to happen, man. He's like, prosecutor's like, he doesn't even know what's going to happen. And I'm like, well, thanks. We should have just defended myself. Could have told you that. So we get up, and I get up, and he's just like looking, and I was a pretty good student. I used to get like A's and B's. I was a really smart kid, so I used to get like A's and B's, and I found out ways to like, fudge people's report cards and stuff, and help them out too, so that was fun. And so I was a good kid. I used to get good grades and stuff, and the judge is like, I've never seen anything like this. This is in '96. He's like, the kids that come in here are doing like drugs, stealing stuff, getting into fights, or they're just like, they're just bad kids. He's like, I've never seen, I don't even know what the internet is. And he's like, he's like, I can't believe this. And he's like, this is like some really crazy technological advance. And he's just like, and then this is what stuck with me forever. And it always has stuck with me forever. He said, if you can use what you did for good, you can change the world. And that's the thing that stuck with me forever. And ever since that day, I was like, wow, that actually makes sense. It actually made sense to me. And I was like, oh my God. And so I didn't go to jail. Don't worry about it. I didn't go to jail. I got 2 years probation, 50 hours community service, and I had to pay like $3,000 restitution. And I had to like clean cop cars and stupid things like that. But it was interesting. The whole experience was just like earth-shattering, right? So I didn't use a computer for a while. After that, I really didn't touch a computer. Like, even at school, I wasn't allowed to touch a computer at school. They brought me in, the principal, the vice principal, and the freaking technology guy brought me into the room. I sat there, and they wanted to expel me because, like, I guess the township had gotten a bad rap, like, oh, there's these hacker kids in South Brunswick, whatever. And I was like, whatever. They're like, well, you can't use a computer unless you're around supervision. And I was like, all right, whatever, not a big deal. And they made all the kids sign waivers the next year, too. It was pretty funny. So I didn't use a computer for a while. Just basically, my parents even like moved the computer away from like a phone line, but I still figured out ways to do it. But I got back into computers in 1998, which was probably around my freshman year of college. And I created a company called Brain Labs. And I was so interested on how to actually make the brain smarter. Like, how can people eat something or do something or exercise that people can do to become smarter? And I started this company called Brain Labs, and I sent out 50 million emails to random people, and I brought down 3 of my servers at my college. And so the dean comes, knocks on my door, and he goes, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I was just like, "I don't know, I'm mailing people, I'm trying to make some money." And that was okay. He's just like, he's like, "Don't do this anymore. You brought down the servers." They were actually much better about it because I wasn't like doing anything too wrong. I had the ability to mail. So like, why wouldn't you mail? And I was mailing all day long. I was like, send $1, send $1, and I had a P.O. box. I actually registered a company, and this is in Newark, New Jersey. I don't know if you guys know Newark. This is in like the hood, right? So I had a P.O. box in Newark, New Jersey. And I was telling everyone to send me $1 in the mail, and I'll give them access to this report that tells them how to get smarter. And I actually made a decent amount of money, but I had to stop mailing, so that whole income stream stopped. And, so I forgot to click that. Spam, knock, knock. So I gave that up, and I was like, you know what, maybe computers really is just not my thing. Like, I just keep getting screwed. And I had a major shift in 1998, experimenting with drugs. I'm a freshman in college, come on, give me a break. And I just remember, I was sitting there, and and it was the end of my trip, I guess you could say. And I was sitting there, and I just started crying, just bawling, out of control. And I was just like, man, this is not, I'm getting like goosebumps right now. I was like, this is not going to happen to me. I was like, I am not going to be poor. I'm never going to be poor, and I'm going to figure out a way to beat this shit. Because I keep getting in trouble doing the stuff that I think is right, but it's wrong. I don't want to live this life, and I don't want to be like my father. I mean, like, I do in a certain way, but I do not want to end up like him. Everything is not about money. It's really not about money. That's what I told myself. But I also said, I'm not going to be poor. And that's when everything started to change. I had just believed it so much in that moment. And I kept with it, and I was like, this is not happening to me. This is not going to happen to me. And then I started getting great job offers. Dude, I was a freshman in college, and I was getting job offers. I was getting great money to be a consultant. And that's when I started my career, like in the whole, online, not really online, just computers in general, right? Data analysis, things like that. I got hired by Compaq in 1999. Here I am, 19 years old, getting paid $60 to $100 an hour. 19. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I got a job at SBC. I worked for Campbell's Soup. This is 2 years later. At Campbell's Soup, they sent me back out to San Diego to La Jolla. And it's a different company. I'm like, man, I'm here again. And I love this place. And I remember, and I was just like, wow. Like, I told myself this time around, and I was like, you know what? Maybe in a couple of years I'll actually live here. You know what? Screw it. One day I'm going to live in California. I'm going to live in San Diego. That's what I told myself. Then I worked for Bank of America, the U.S. Senate. Isn't that pretty funny? And then I got a job at IBM, and the best part is I actually got a job at America Online. So after all that, I also worked for Morgan Stanley after that. Sorry. And then I produced my first album in 2002. That's actually the record, the cover for it. And this is what I thought. I was like, man, this is going to give me the biggest break of my life. I'm going to be a rap star. I'm going to be a producer. That's not really how it works. And then I put a deposit in a house in 2003. I started running numbers, and I freaked out because I was going to be house broke. I wouldn't be able to afford the house I was living in, even making the money that I was making. I was making like, I don't know, at that time, it was a little bit lower because of the economy and stuff, probably like $80,000, $90,000, but I was going to be house broke. I wouldn't be able to leave my house and enjoy my life because I had to pay for my mortgage. So I did the only thing that I knew that would bring me money, is I went online, and I had that second shift right at that moment. Because I remember telling myself, like, I was never going to be poor. I'm not going to live my life like this. I'm really not going to live my life being poor and living in this house, even though it's a nice house, and I won't be able to do anything. Am I going to sit in my house all day and go to work? And so when I did go online, I lost $8,000 in one weekend. Fuck me. Seriously, it was like the worst thing ever. And I was like, man, I actually had to take money out of my 401k to pay for that credit card bill. And I was like, man, maybe this online thing really isn't for me, but I just kept at it. I was like, screw this, nuh-uh. This is for me. I'm going to figure this shit out. So my first website I built after that was lostseason2.com, and I've never seen an episode in my life. That was my first website ever. I started making $5 a day. Then I started making $10 a day. And eventually I was making $50 a day with this website. I wasn't spending any money on advertising. I was doing like SEO stuff, if you guys know what that is. A lot of you probably do. And I was like, okay, I'm making $50 a day. This is pretty cool. I'll pay back that $8,000 pretty soon. And then I turned into a machine. I was literally turning myself into a machine. I would go to work from 7 a.m., come back by 7 p.m., and then I'd eat at home, and then I would work on my business from 8 p.m. until 2 o'clock in the morning, and I did that for a year and a half. And I was like, I'm going to figure this shit out. And so along the way, I started building more and more websites, and I told myself I want 3 years worth of pay in the bank, so that's like $300,000 before I quit my job, so that even if this doesn't work out, I have enough money to chill for a while. So I built more and more websites, and I got myself up to $200 a day. I was like, that's pretty good. And then I started getting innovative, right? And this is around the time I quit my job in like 2006, and I started like around 2004. I sold Gmail addresses, and I started making $200 a day. I don't know if you guys remember when they were invite only. I invited myself and sold them on eBay for $5 each, because people were going crazy. They really wanted a Gmail address, and I was like, well, I got 50 of them. So I started selling Gmail addresses. Then I was also doing eBay affiliate program. Then I started making $800 a day. Then if you guys remember ringtones back in the day, they were massive, so I started making $1,000 a day. And then I started doing Google arbitrage, and that started making me $8,000 a day. And then I started doing affiliate marketing, and that was making me $8,000 a day. And then I was just like, walked into my boss's office, and I was like, I'm out. And I got the check. I still remember my first check from Google, and it was $253,000. I maxed out 8 credit cards to get to that point. I applied for every single damn credit card I could think of. And I did them all really quick because I didn't want like my credit to get bad, so I just did them all like in a week. And I got like 9 credit cards, and I was spending as much as I could to make as much as I could like in that short time. And I went balls to the freaking wall. Because there is no such thing. Failure was not an option, and failure should not be an option for anyone here either, ever. Because if you put your mind to something, you can do anything you want. It doesn't matter what it is. And so when I was 25, I made my first $1 million when I was 25 in a year. I've made a little bit of money kind of randomly throughout the years, but when I was 25 years old, in 2005, I just remember looking at my tax statement. I was like, holy shit, that actually, wow. And I was very humble. I was living in New Jersey, living in a townhouse, driving an Acura RSX. By this time, I might have had an Infiniti, nothing crazy. I was just living normal, So I stuck with affiliate marketing, and I tested at least 100 different markets. I tested at least 50 different traffic sources. In 4 years, I've driven 105 billion impressions to various campaigns and offers and things like that. I tested different landing pages, offers, traffic. I tested everything. I'm like a testing freak. I generated over $110 million in sales over the last 4 years for various clients and different companies that I've worked for. I've generated over $20 million in commissions and sales, just commissions from sales, in my own company over the last 4 years. So I needed a way to manage all these campaigns and everything that I was doing along the way. So I had to manage over 90 different campaigns, and I needed to automate everything because there's just too much to do. So I built software and tools to automate everything I was doing in my business. That's the only way I knew how. And I would like experiment with guys in India and Philippines and outsource and hire students. I was part of an incubator program in New Jersey. It didn't really help me too much, but I just had like a $200 a month office space, which was pretty cool. And so I moved to La Jolla in 2008 because I was just like, all right, I'm making good money. And I realized when I got to La Jolla, I've been wanting to live here like for the last 10 years. And I found myself in La Jolla, and I'm like, whoa, I'm actually freaking here. I packed up my bags one day. I was like, I'm moving to San Diego. I just literally packed my bags in my Infiniti and drove cross country, and I was in La Jolla. Because I told myself, again, there's nothing that's going to stop me. I can do anything I want, right? And I'm going to go and do it. And there's nothing. You can make up excuses your whole entire life on why you don't want to do something. But when you make a decision, your whole life changes. So in 2009, there was kind of like these underground rumblings of me being like this internet marketing superstar. And I did my first seminar in 2009 and brought in $800,000. And I didn't even think that was going to happen. Sold 200 seats at $4,000. And I was like, wow, these people, this is crazy. I guess I do have a following. And then I met Frank Kern, if you guys know Frank Kern. He's also a very, very cool rock star internet marketer, genius when it comes to psychology and marketing and sales funnels. And I met him, and I was still running my private software. I was still building my software and stuff. And he saw the software I was building. He's like, dude, what do you even do? And I'm like, I don't know. I run campaigns, and I have software that automates everything. And he's just like, well, can I take a look? And he's like, yeah. And I said, yeah, sorry. And then he looked at it, and he said, dude, this shit is awesome. And he was like a genius at selling info products, right? I had no idea how to sell info products. I was just like, well, I'm going to teach, I did a seminar, but seminars are different than an info product, way different. So he showed me about the whole info marketing thing, and we did a launch last year, and we did $5.1 million in sales in 7 days. 7 days, I just still remember looking at that authorized.net, and I saw $1 million in cash, coming to me in 2 days. In my bank account within an hour and a half. I've never seen anything like it. I've made money over a year, but not that short of a span, In 2011, we did 2.0, and it did $3.2 million in sales in approximately the same amount of time. So here's the thing. Over the last 2 years, I've been contemplating how I was able to create all this stuff. But I was creating all this stuff without feeling good about it at all. Didn't feel happy about it at all. I didn't care for it. It just I felt like shit. I felt like shit. Didn't like anything. Didn't like anything around me. Still in that negative mindset, still in that negative zone of screw this, screw that. I just wasn't happy, right? I literally had everything I wanted. My companies had made over $20 million in 5 short years. I had a Ferrari, I had a Maserati, I had a 4,500 square foot house that overlooked the whole entire ocean with a pool on the roof. It was like MTV Cribs. No, I'm not joking. People that have been there can say, yes, that's true. And I built an Inc. 500. I built a company that was in the Inc. 500 twice, not just once, twice. We were the 60th fastest growing advertising company in the U.S. And I literally had everything. I was like, man, I have everything. I have a wonderful wife. I still have a wonderful wife and beautiful wife. But this is going back then. And it's just I still remember, and it was just the weirdest thing ever. I was standing there, and I was in my shower, and out of my shower I could see the whole ocean. And I was just stood there, and I was just I wasn't on drugs this time. And then I just started tearing, and I was looking out, and I saw the Ferrari, I saw the Maserati, I saw the Audi that we had too. I was looking at the ocean, and I was looking at this big ass shower I was taking a shower in, and I was like, man, this sucks. I was I was depressed. I was severely depressed, to the point where I had thoughts of suicide and shit. It was fucking weird. It was really weird. And I just didn't know what to do. And that's when I had that major shift in the shower. And I was like, man, you know what? I realized that I've been using my own law of attraction system to create everything, right? It was a system that I've been developing since I was 5 years old, reading, listening, practicing material and spirituality, yoga, religion, personal help, yantras, mantras, mudras. I'm just crazy. I just read all this kinds of stuff, and I'd incorporate a little bit into my life at certain times or whenever I thought, it's a different way of looking at things or incorporating these different practices into my life. And I realized, after I had this major shift, I realized I was creating everything I ever wanted except happiness. I was creating everything I wanted in my life except for being happy. How crazy is that? I wanted everything. I wanted cars. I wanted to go pop bottles at clubs and take limos there every single weekend. I thought that was fucking cool. I really did. But at the end of the day, man, none of that shit matters. I was not happy at all. At all. And I just still remember sitting there looking out the window and I was like, man, this sucks. I really told myself that. It's like, this just sucks. I don't even know why I'm doing this. It made no sense to me. I was like, I am not happy. And I just completely stopped my business, stopped everything. And so what I started doing was I had to find myself again. I had to figure out what is it that created everything that I've created so far, but not happiness. What do I need to do to create this happiness and still make the money and be happy with it, be okay with it? So I found it, and I kind of started looking at what I've been doing for a long time, but not doing it consciously, doing it unconsciously, and some of it was consciously. And I created something called Meditate to Create. And it's just a set of systems, and I'm going to go over it in a second. I started creating more and more free content, and that's just for giving, if you guys follow me on Facebook, there's a reason why I write those posts on my wall every day. They're all just positive affirmations. I can't even tell you how many people have come up to me or have Skyped me or have told me, you changed my life because of those posts. Almost every single day I'll write something, and the reason why is because I know I can reach more people just by saying one little thing. 3 sentences can change a whole person's life. That's all it takes. And so I'm just creating all this content just to change people. That's all I want to do. That's all I realized I needed to do is I'm sitting here trying to make millions of dollars, teaching people how to make millions of dollars, but none of them are succeeding, and that's what's making me unhappy. I need to go teach people how to be happy and how to live a sustainable life and be okay with themselves internally. Before they go and reflect on the outside world, you have to be fixed inside before you reflect outside. So then I started helping passionate clients, and this is what I call, viral help. I help clients that are passionate about their business, because if I'm passionate about helping their passionate business, that's just going to go viral. It's a viral movement. And I'm also writing a book, and it's called Before You're Rich. And the reason why it's called Before You're Rich is because my subheadline is what to know to become a millionaire and be a millionaire. Because after you make your $1 million, there's a whole other story on the other side that people don't even realize what's on that other side. It's probably worse. Sometimes I tell myself I wish I was still back in Jersey working my 9 to 5, so I didn't have to think about all this crap. And then I'm also on volunteer missions. My wife and I we started an organization, we're going to India to explore lost civilizations and uncover places that are underwater right now, and they could prove to be the oldest civilization on the planet. So we're doing things like that. She goes to Africa pretty often, and she helps kids there. She's a dentist, so she helps kids there. And so that's really more fulfilling than any of this shit. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep doing it. And there's the new projects I'm working on. I'm just working on, nonprofit organizations and stuff that's based out of passion. More recently, I've been working on a mobile company. And the mobile company, I actually have it with me, is that we all know that cell phones cause brain damage or it just messes you up. So we're working on this little device, and basically what it does, it actually sends healing frequencies into your body. So you can actually hold it, it'll tell you what's wrong with your body, and then it'll send frequencies into your body. So what we're going to do with this thing next, it actually proven to work, is turn it into a cell phone. So why not have a cell phone that actually heals you, and you just carry it in your pocket and it heals you while you're walking around? It just makes sense. But obviously there's certain things you need to do to get there. This is more of my long-term plan, but I'm doing things to get there slowly. And I'm focusing my attention on things like that make a really big impact, right? And that's what I call mass-scale impact. What I want to do is create a mass-scale impact in the world. And that's by creating the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time. And that involves everybody. If I can help one person, they help another person, and we can do it in a short time, then we're creating a mass-scale impact. We can change the shift of the world. And we can transform the world. So, Meditate to Create allowed me to align myself with my purpose. Everyone always says, what's your purpose, right? It allowed me to align myself with my purpose. And the minute I aligned myself with my purpose, my company got acquired. I was also in a very bad business relationship. We didn't get along, to say the least. And so, since we didn't get along, I just backed out of the company. I was like, you figure it out. I don't care. And the minute I let go, and the minute I just said, whatever, the minute you just let go of something that you're holding on to for dear life, is when everything just starts to happen. I completely said, you know what, screw it. I don't care. Someone comes knocking on the door 3 months later and says, hey, we'll buy your company. I was like, wow. The minute I let go of it is that the minute that stuff comes into your life. So now I'm focusing on mobile apps, not just the device. I'm also focusing on actual iPhone and apps like that. And that's the new company's kind of headed into the mobile app world. And I'm pursuing my passions. I love this stuff. This is great. This is like what I'm doing now. I'm actually freaking happy. I'm like ecstatic. I wake up every morning and I'm like, this is fun. This is great. It's awesome. So what if I said you can have anything you want, right? What would you get first? We talked about this before. Would it be a car, a house, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a lifetime partner, better health, more money? Or maybe you want world peace, a better economy, or a conscious society. What would you want first? If you can have anything, what would you want first? What if I said you can have a better life? And what if I said everyone around you can have a better life? What if I said I can show you how to create anything in the world? What if I said there's a true path to happiness? And what if I said there's answers to all of your deepest questions? Every single question you ever had, there's an answer. And what if I said you can accomplish anything you want to do and do anything you want and be completely happy with it? You can create a better life, right? You can better life by creating an abundance of happiness, the perfect health, money beyond your wildest dreams, perfect relationships, peace around you at all times, as long as you're in your own space, a better world, an awakened and conscious society, and a new generation of thought leaders. What if I said that we can create this together? Because you'll see the change once that happens. We need to do that to make the actual change happen, right? You might think what I'm about to teach you, this whole entire strategy, is pretty crazy. And when you start this process, others will start thinking you're crazy and they will oppose you. But soon your life will change and others will follow you because that's how change works. When I first told someone about my life transforming and how I was manifesting, I'm going to use that word right now, everything I've ever wanted, they thought it was crazy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Woo-woo shit, get out of here. But once they actually witnessed I was getting everything I've ever wanted, they joined me. And that's how change works, right? Take this system and implement it in your life. Make it a daily ritual and gain the life you deserve. Because it's all right there. Everything is right there. You just have to do it. As I started practicing meditate to create, everything in my life from negative turned positive. Everything. Everything turned from negative to positive. I can't even explain to you how it worked. And somehow life just became awesome. It was great. I loved it. There are so many things that we attract in our life, and a lot of those things are negative. What you think is like a beacon that returns with the energy or vibration that you sent out. Right? Whatever you think goes out, comes back, it starts creating itself instantly. If it's negative, boom, it's already happening. Something started putting itself together already. And then it becomes reality. So how can we prevent this? Because if this is something that's so powerful, it can be used for bad too. So when I finally realized that I had this power, that I could do this, and I can create anything that I wanted, it was a little too late, right? I'd already created so many negative things in my life. I created everything. I really think I created a lot of things in my life that were just bad. I think I'm personally responsible for giving my dad a heart attack. And I've forgiven myself for that, but I hated him so much that I think I caused it. And I felt it. When he had it, I felt it. And I created that because I just disliked him so much, I freaking made that happen. So I'm sure all of you can think of at least 10 times in your life that something bad happened to you. And did you know at least 50% of those times you actually created the pain in the first place? You control your life. You control what happens around you. You made that bad thing actually happen. Right? And what if there was a way to alter the whole entire thought process so you didn't even get these thoughts in the first place? I've had so many bad things happen to me in my life, and a lot of those things which were things I created. And after researching, experimenting, and implementing this meditate to create system is when everything changed. When you start this journey, it's going to be tough, and you'll have a lot of obstacles. Even I have to deal with a lot of obstacles, and I still am. I'm not perfect. I'm creating my perfect life, but I'm not perfect. I'm still going through a lot of stuff. But it's changing, and it's happening. And I'm creating stuff every single day of my life. And things are just falling into place exactly how I want them to. Exactly how I want them to. Because I'm okay if something bad happens, because I know it's put there for a reason. But I'm making more progress than I ever have in my life, and you will too. You can have change occur automatically. You can remove fear. You can become a smarter person, get more clarity, feel happier, achieve anything, create a new movement with new leaders, be a part of this mass scale impact and change the world. And look, you don't have to believe me. I'm going to get to the whole entire system in a second. You don't have to believe me. Because the world is changing as we know it. Communities are forming everywhere. We've seen Web 1.0 was when we just go search the internet, we get information, and we're done. Web 2.0 is when we go on the information, and then we can leave comments, and it becomes kind of like a society. Web 3.0 is now we're going out and getting information based on other people, based on our community, based on our tribes. We ask our tribes, should I buy a Honda or should I buy a Toyota? We don't go read consumer reports. Some people do, but a lot of the times now, I can show you complete proof from my Facebook. I'll be like, hey man, I just ate like a turkey burger, it was great. 30 likes, 20 responses, right? And then I'll post something that says, hey, I just put this campaign up and I made like, 500 grand in 3 weeks. 20 likes, 30 responses. So what are we doing? That's the way information has become. You are attracting your tribe into your life. Your community is where we're getting the information from now. That's why the world is changing. We're becoming into these communities now. And everything is changing, right? Everything is changing. People are becoming more awake now. Consciousness is rapidly increasing among us. I mean, you guys can feel this, right? It's like happening so fast. And the internet is responsible for that because you can get information so fast. People are starting to get real information, not the media shit that's out there on CNN and living in fear all day. My mom calls me the other day, and she's just freaked out about everything. She's like, but the news this, the news that. I was like, just stop watching the news. And she's like, well, how do you know about anything in the world? I was like, I don't. I was like, I really don't. I don't know what goes on. I find out from somewhere else if something happened that's catastrophic or whatever. Because I don't need to put myself in that world. I don't need to drown my life in fear. Why? It's just fear. That's all it is. So everyone wants to make an impact now. Why is everything about change? Because change is powerful. What is it that scares us about change, right? We know we have to change, but we can't. And the reason why, what's stopping us from changing? It all comes down to fear. At the end of the day, you don't change because you're scared. It's the only reason none of us are changing or not changing is because we're scared. We're all scared to try something new and venture into a new world and explore and become new people and change something. Here's some good quotes. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across waters to create many ripples. You don't have to change the world. You just have to change yourself. Be the change you want to see in the world. And of course, Obama. I'm not sorry. Change is good, right? And then there's Obama. Just change. Change. Why is that word so damn powerful? See, your frequencies, if you can change your frequencies, then others will follow you. Just one little thing. Start meditating. Quit smoking. Stop drinking alcohol. Exercise. Yoga. Volunteer. Help the elderly or unfortunate. Give a bum $5. You're going to change that dude's life. Even if he buys alcohol with it and he's okay and he feels good about that, you just made that dude happy as fucking hell. I don't know, if he goes and buys drugs with it, fine. He's living his life. Let him do what he wants to do with it. Give him $5 and let his life be. Let him be. And think positive. And do something every day that you're passionate about. 5 minutes. Spend 5 minutes a day. Just do something you're passionate about. Never say you don't have enough time, because you do. Stop bullshitting. Get off Facebook for 5 minutes, seriously. It's so simple. All you have to do is change one thing, one small thing, to help yourself. And when you help yourself, you help the world. Because it just happens like that. That's the way things work. When you start changing one little thing inside yourself, everything else around you starts changing. This is the true way to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. Here's a little screenshot from, The Matrix. And it's the Spoon Boy. Spoon Boy says, don't try and bend the spoon, that's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. Neo says, what truth? The Spoon Boy goes, there is no spoon. And then Neo goes, there is no spoon? And he says, yes. Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself. And it's true. The only thing that has to change is you, it's yourself. You can make anything happen in this world as long as you change yourself. That's the only thing that needs to bend. So meditate to create will cause a deep subconscious change. So let's look at the word meditate, to plan mentally or to think deeply or carefully about something. And if we add that with create, to bring something into existence, so if you think about something deeply and you bring it into existence, then you're making something different, and that's change. So the meditate to create system starts with having the first mindset first. You must have a clear mind before you can create, and if you try to create without a strong mind, you're not going to get anywhere. The importance of the mindset is extreme. It's crazy. You have to have an awesome mindset, right? You must be present. You must be freaking present. If you're not present, I can't tell you how much your life will change if you're just here, right this second. And everything that you do in your life is right here at that second. There's nothing else that's bothering you except right now. Not bothering you, good. Whatever is here right now is meant to be here right now. And you must be positive. You must be persistent. You must be real. And you must believe. And you have to believe it already happened, because it did already happen. Whatever you can think in your head already happened. That's how positive you have to be in your frame. It already happened. I know it happened. And you have to believe it. You have to eat it, breathe it, sleep it, dream it, shit it, live it, touch it, taste it, feel it, smell it. Sounds like that song. But you really have to encompass this. You have to actually believe it that much. You have to almost brainwash yourself into being this, having this mindset. It's not hard. You just have to use your brain, have patience, don't be scared, don't be stupid, try harder, simplify and automate. Because having the right mindset leads to clarity, having the right mindset leads to happiness, and having the right mindset leads to the creation of the perfect life. And it's not hard. And we can do it in 6 easy steps. And here's what I've developed. So, it's not as hard as it, come on, it's not that bad. So step 1 is knowing what you want. Step 2 is believing in your success. Step 3 is becoming passionate. Step 4 is becoming present, living it every single day. Step 5 is being positive. Step 6 is being persistent. So what I'm going to do here is, what I've done is I've broken it down. So I'll show you real quick how this works. Let's see if I can do this. So see this first line that goes down? That's the first thing you need to do. And you just go from the top down. And what I did was I broke it out into 6 sections so we can follow it step by step. So step 1, write down what you truly enjoy doing. You don't have to do this right now. If you want these slides or you want that little document, I can give it to you. I just want to explain to you the steps. If you want to do it right now, go ahead. Completely cool. So step 1 is knowing what you want. So write down what you truly enjoy doing. What do you really like doing? Seriously. Pick the item that you're most passionate about out of that list that you created. After you do that, write down how you would use that passionate item to change yourself, your life, and the world. How would you use that thing that you're passionate about to change yourself, to change your life, and to change the world? Write down a description of your perfect day incorporating that passion. What would your day look like if you just had that and you were incorporating that passion into your everyday life? What would your perfect day look like? You just write that down. And I suggest getting a journal for this because it works. This is the same stuff that I've been doing for like a while, and this works. Write down specific goals that are part of your vision. So if you have a vision that says, okay, I want to be living here, doing this, what are the specific goals that you need to hit to make it a reality? And then you write down the action steps. What do you need to actually do to get to those goals? To accomplish those goals, what steps do you actually need to take? After you do that, you rank your action steps from most important to least important. What's the most important thing that you think, that you really feel is the most important step to the least important step? You just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just rank them. Right? Hold on 1 second. There you go. Step 2 is reading your perfect day. You want to make sure you read it, and you read your goals, and read your action steps. That's going to be the second step, is reading everything, and read them out loud. Say it actually out loud. And then you ask yourself, do I feel this is achievable? That's what you have to ask yourself. Do I feel that this is actually achievable? If not, you need to start all over and go back to step 1. This is literally like a flow chart. You just go through the steps, and if you don't feel this is achievable, you need to go back to step 1, because you know what? If you don't think it's achievable, then you're not passionate about it. Step 3 is becoming passionate about what you're doing. Start a journal. And on the first couple pages, write down your goals, your perfect day, your action steps. And this becomes your mission statement. This is what you are. This is what you're going to embody. And take the most important action steps and implement them. And take your least important action steps and implement them. So you actually go like this towards the middle. So you take the most important and the least important and you work towards the middle. And did you implement, you got to ask yourself, did you implement it? So if we follow this thing right here, it says start journal, write down your goals, your perfect day, your action steps, take the most important action step and implement, take the least important, and then it asks you, did you implement? If it's no, it's going to ask you to go somewhere else. So let's see. There you go. So if you said no, then you got to ask yourself, do you believe that this is achievable? If no, then you need to go back, and it'll put you back to the beginning over here. It's a very simple system. It looks crazy, but it's really not. And then if you do it, after you do it, you write down the most important and the least important action steps you took and what actions you took to implement them. And the reason why you want to write down everything that you do is because it gives you the positive reinforcement in your brain that you actually did something, which gives you success. You feel success. You feel like you accomplished something. When you feel like you accomplished something, you can go twice as far than you already went in the beginning. And once you do that, you start crossing out the completed action steps from your journal. And you write down what you have to do tomorrow. It's very easy. You write down what you have to do tomorrow. You write down what you did that day, and you write down what you have to do tomorrow. And read your mission statement pages. Again, this is in step 3. You go back to the beginning of your book, and you read everything all over again. You read what you've accomplished with your action steps, because by now you're actually doing stuff, and you're accomplishing things. Read it. Read what you've done to get there. Read what you have to do still. This is just like a book that you keep going and it keeps playing over and over again. And as you keep reading it and keep implementing, things just start happening. Your life just starts becoming different. You start changing things about you. You start changing things that you need in your life. Say it out loud. Say what you're grateful for and feel good. Step 4 is becoming present. You can see this. This is a pretty simple diagram. Becoming present is probably one of the most important things I can tell anyone to do, honestly. It's like the most important thing ever. Because, you got to ask yourself, do you feel clarity, right? If you don't feel clarity, and that's right here so you can see, are you brain noise free, which is basically like clarity, right? If yes, you move on and you actually go and meditate. If no, you need to take a break and then go and meditate. And you can follow this, right? And I'm going to go through a little meditation sequence that I do right after this. So if you feel it, then you go, you drink some water. You want to exercise, eat healthy food. And then you ask yourself, at the end of all this, right? Let's say you're going down here. Go and meditate for 15 minutes. Then drink water, go for a walk, or eat healthy food. Then you ask yourself, are you achieving your goals and your action steps? If no, then you need to go back to the previous step and go through that. It took me a while to come up with this thing. It was like crazy. It took me a couple of days, actually. And review your first pages of your journal, right? Do you have everything that you need in your journal? And if yes, then you go to the next step. If not, you got to go back. So step 5 is being positive. Do you enjoy what you're doing? You got to ask yourself, do you really enjoy what you're doing? Because if you don't, you need to stop. You need to just stop right there. You need to go back to the beginning. Seriously, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then there's no point in doing anything. If not, you need to reevaluate. If yes, do you enjoy the results that you're getting? I'm going to go through that real quickly. It's pretty simple. And step 6 is being persistent. So review your action steps. Identify which action steps don't let you progress. So which ones are actually holding you back? Because you're going to hit those. You're going to hit the ones that are actually being like, it's like a big block. And everyone has those blocks where you're just like, I can't get past this one step. And you have to write that item down completely. Write it down separately from everything else. And create an action step to overcome that bottleneck. So what are you going to do to actually fix that? And so that creates the whole entire system when you basically need to get your mindset clear and figure out what you want to do to achieve results. That's just the mindset part of it. It looks complicated, but it's not. Seriously, you just follow each thing down and you follow the format. It's very simple. Looks complicated, though. All right, now that we've established a clear mind filled with positivity, it's time to start creating what you want with meditation. Remember when I said when you start actually going through your steps and start doing this, you start creating stuff. And when I say when you need to meditate in between going through those steps to accomplish what you want, the meditation part of it is probably the most important part of it. And I call it the S4 meditation. And the reason why I call it S4 is because sacrifice plus self-improvement plus the study of something equals success. So sacrifice is giving up something bad or getting past something painful. Self-improvement is what you want to change about yourself or what you want to change in general. It doesn't have to be about yourself. It could be anyone around you. And study is the education of what you want to change. And success is what we measure with satisfaction. And when you have satisfaction, that's what causes change. So sacrifice. You have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up? What pain are you going to get past? Something that's bothering everybody in this room. I know it. There's always something that's bothering everyone. What are you going to get past? You need to get past that shit. Seriously, get past that shit. What are you willing to give up? You have to give something up too, right? You have to give that up. There's something you have to get past. And self-improvement. What are you grateful for? What can you better about yourself? And these are just preliminary questions before you go into the actual meditation exercise. And the study of something. What do you want to learn? What should others learn? It's not just about you. What should other people learn? You have people in your life that you know, if they just knew that, man, life would be so much better. I wish they knew that. So what should others learn? And why? You always have to say why. Why should you learn this? How is it going to affect your life? Why should they learn this? What is it going to do to their life? So you don't try and create cars and money and materialistic things and love and hate. Well, you can create money and love and stuff like that, but you have to be very careful. Hate, obviously, you don't pray for someone to get hurt or something bad happening to them, right? Don't ever think something negative. We are programmed to think negative. We are programmed to think negative. And bad things in general. It's just the way. You don't want to try and create bad things. So all it takes is about 20 to 30 minutes a day. And you sit in a quiet room or you sit in a quiet area and you silence yourself internally, right? Just take everything else out that's not around you. Everything, just be in yourself, right? You have to block out the noises, block out the emails, Facebook, get away from all that stuff. Don't think about anything that's happening in your life. Just think about what's going on right now inside of you. And you can do that by concentrating on your breath. There's a reason why when you concentrate on your breath, you can't think about anything else. Try it. Concentrate on your breath going in and out, and you can't think about anything. And the minute that you think about something, you realize you're not concentrating on your breath. So that's actually one of the biggest things I can say about silencing yourself internally. And you can chant something in your mind. It could be anything you want, something positive, a positive affirmation. It could be anything. Anything you want. You can say, I am positive, I am this, whatever. Just something that you would like to chant for yourself. And you just do this for 5 to 10 minutes, concentrating on the breath and chanting something in your mind. After you do that, I want to again emphasize that you must be extremely present with the breath, right? You must be present where you are. You have to understand everything right in this moment is crucial to what you're doing. The past is the past. It's over. Don't worry about it. It's done. It's gone. You can't change it. The future is the future. You can't change it. You can only do what's right now to create the future. So the next step would be being grateful for others. It's the first step you take, being grateful for others. That's the first thing you want to tell yourself after you get through that, being one with yourself. Think of people. Think of people that you want to pray for their liberation. It could be anyone. Just think of people in your life that you pray for their liberation. You want them to be liberated. You want them to be happy. You want them to do anything. You pray for random people. It could be people that you don't even like. I do it. People that rub me the wrong way or that might have done something in my past, I pray for their liberation. I pray for them to be happy people. Because the minute you give your energy to people like that is the minute that everything changes inside of you too. Because you forgave. You've given them the power. And you've said, I hope this person helps. I hope I can help this person. Your ego gets demolished completely. Because everything is not about yourself. The more you give to other people in your meditation, the more you think about other people and then yourself, the more you're going to get out of it. I always start with negative things first. Whatever I think is negative in my mind, I figure out why it's negative, and then I try to find positive in it. Like, what did it do to me? What did it do in my life what is the reason why this happened to me, that it actually put me on a different path? You have to believe that it's an actual positive reason why something negative in your life is actually positive. You have to find the positive. Not everything is negative. I've had crazy stuff happen to me. Running big companies, you get sued and stuff like that. And I've had crazy lawsuits where, you know what? I just gave it up. I prayed for the attorney's liberations. I prayed for the company's liberation every single day. I found the positive. I learned a very good lesson from it. And it was completely settled for like nothing. It works. It really works. Then you say you're grateful for yourself. Obviously, you're grateful for yourself. You're grateful for your health. We're all walking. We're all here. You're all listening to me. Your ears are working. Your fingernails, everything. Your toes, your hands, the hair on your arms. You have to be grateful for everything. Your organs, your lungs, your gallbladder, your appendix, whatever it is. Everything inside of you, you have to be grateful for it. And you just think of things that you're grateful for inside of you. What are you grateful for around you as well? What are you grateful for? The people in your life. Who are you grateful for? You're grateful for your life in general. You're breathing. You woke up. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, thank you. And I hang my feet off the bed and I sit there for like 3 minutes and I just say what I'm grateful for because I'm like, I woke up today. That I have a new day in my life to continue my journey and be a strong, powerful person. Be grateful for Mother Nature. It's there. You have air to breathe. That's why the only reason we're all living. It's our life force. It's our prana, right? We're breathing this air. The trees, the sun, the moon. Without any of that, we'd all be dead. So you have to be grateful for all that stuff. We're such an intricate society. Everything is connected. We're all connected to each other. In a tree, what makes a tree grow? The sun, the water, the earth. We have the same thing inside of us. We're all connected to everything. And again, the negative stuff. You have to be grateful for the negative stuff in your life. It's one of the biggest things I can say. There's a reason why negative stuff happens to you. You have to be okay with that shit. You really do. You have to be so okay with it that you're just like busting out like, thank you, thank you. You taught me an awesome lesson, thank you. And you have to find positive in it. There's a reason why this happened. The next step as your meditation, and you think of this, like you have to make sure you're so present that you're visualizing this as you're meditating. You're picturing the people, you're picturing the Mother Nature, you're picturing what you're grateful for. Picture everything while you're doing it. And then you can ask for what you want. Whether it's money, which is okay. It's not wrong to ask for money. But you have to ask yourself, what did money bring you in your life already? You have to find out, what did money actually bring you in your life already? There's a reason why the money's in your life. So what did it bring you so far? We're all here in Hawaii. Not everyone has the opportunity to even fly here ever in their life. There's a specific reason why you want the money, right? What will you change with it? What are you personally going to change to yourself? And how is it going to affect the world? The minute that you get the money, how is that going to change the whole entire world? What will you do to take that money to change people and the world? It's not for cars and to show off, like I thought it was at some point. I really did. I thought it was cool, actually. But now, that just it didn't bring any happiness. So this is like the path to happiness also. Has to be something valid. Has to be a valid concern. And if it's love, who? And why? You have to get very specific. So you ask for what you want, right? You can ask for health, wealth, happiness. Answers to your questions. Just say, hey, I don't know the answer to this question. Please send it to me. And if you can just be okay with that, you're going to get a message very soon that's telling you the answer to your question. Any question in the freaking world, it will come to you. I guarantee it. You can ask for anything you want eventually. World happiness. You have to be confident in what you say, and you have to be precise, because you have to be so focused on what you want and so confident, like, yes, I am going to get this, and yes, I am going to create this, and yes, this is what I want in my life. And the minute you do that, you have to be that strong. You have to embody it. You have to just be there. You have to be that present in your life. And you have to think it already happened. You have to have a clear picture of it. You can see it already. And if you don't know, like I said, ask the universe. Please send me a message. I don't know what I should do in this situation. And make sure you do all of this stuff with positive intentions. You think about your thoughts. If you think about your thoughts, right? Isn't that crazy? You can think about your thoughts. So weird. If you can think about your thoughts, you're thinking about that, where that's coming from is crazy. Your brain's doing the thinking, and then you're thinking about what's going on. Where is that coming from? You replace everything negative with positive. That's the biggest thing. Replace everything negative with positive, because at one point in my life, everything sucked. For the longest freaking time of my life, everything just sucked. And everything was negative. You can ask my wife. She knows I used to be like the most negative person. If we were like 10 minutes late to the airport, I'd be like, fuck it, man, the plane's already gone. Or if the train was coming, I'd be like, no, screw it, I'm not even getting on. Like, it's just not going to be there. What the hell's the point? I used to be that bad. I used to be so bad. Everything was negative in my life. Everything. I used to think of shit like, if someone cut me off, I'd be like, oh, fuck you. I'd fucking want to like run them over. I was bad. I was really, really bad. And all of a sudden, I started realizing that's just not the way it is. You got to take what's in your head. A negative thought comes in your head, you throw that out, replace it with something positive. Immediately. Don't even let it get into your brain. And you will see that your life will just change after that. And then here's some advanced techniques. I'm not going to get into them too much. I'm a little bit over time. But there's things that you can incorporate into this whole entire system with like binaural beats and like mandala concentration and worship, breathing, kundalini exercises, and harnessing sexual power and sexual energy. and intuition. Obviously, this system is much bigger than I can talk about on stage, but it's massive. And incorporating this stuff into your daily life and making it a ritual. Forgiving yourself is huge. If you can forgive yourself, everything will happen to you as well. Just you have to forgive yourself. And you just have to have enough trust that everything is okay. Because the minute that everything is okay and you trust yourself and you forgive yourself, you can do anything you want. You can stand up like this, proud, and say, that's me. Bring it. Like I said, you don't have to believe me. Really? You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe anything that I just told you. You just have to believe in yourself. And once you do that, and once you see that, you're going to see the change. And that's it. Thank you.